What is going on, y'all? Gamersgoon back here today with your Week 2 NFL predictions video. And last week was a little rough. We went 7 for 9, below 500. We're going to shoot for better than that this week. But anyways, let's hop on over into this week's games. We started off on Thursday Night Football. We had the Commanders going up against Green Bay. And my oh my, did Green Bay look good against the Lions. They looked really dominant. The Lions never got going. There wasn't much like offensively that I thought like, oh, they can't, like, they're just significantly better. Like, it was kind of an all around attack offensively, and the defense was just hammering and getting good field position for the offense. It's gonna be a rough game for Jaden Daniels and company. Now Debo had a big game. That's why he's the feature on this graphic. Krosky Merritt had his first career touchdown. Um, but it wasn't a super clean game against the Giants. The Giants still a good defense, and they gave the Commanders some trouble at times. I think that's kind of what you're going to expect here with Green Bay. Um, I like this game. I think it's a good Thursday night game. Hopefully, I can watch it all. I'm going to be leaving early Friday morning, so I don't know if I'll want to sleep and potentially miss this, or maybe I'll watch this and worry about my travel sleep while I'm traveling, because I'm going to be flying out. Then on Sunday, wait, my bad. What do you? I was rambling about my travel. Um, this game, we are going to win Green Bay 27-24. It pains my heart. I want to pick Jaden Daniels and the company there, but Green Bay is going to win. I just got a gut feeling. Next, we got two teams with big letdowns. The Bears, they were cooking in the first half. The Bears are my team, obviously. And then the second half happened. Everything started going south, and it was a rough day. It was a rough day, right? The offense didn't really look that good in the second half. The defense didn't look good in the second half. Not a lot went right in the second half. Some missed calls by the refs in the second half helped kind of seal the fate. But when you don't play good football, I mean, you have yourself to blame as well. The Lions, on the other hand, they never got going. The Bears got going and kind of blew it, right? The Lions did not get going. And I am afraid of that. I don't think that is a good sign for the Bears. I just think really here you are coming off a poor week, like a really poor week. It's not like, oh, we almost had it kind of week with Detroit. They never really were. It never really felt like they had a chance. That's the kind of game that was between Green Bay and them. I think Dan Campbell is going to have them in the right mindset. I think this is going to be a tough game, but ultimately I got to go with the experience of Jared Goff and company. Even though it pains me, I'm going Lions to win that one, 31-24. Next, we got two kind of underwhelming first week games. You had the Rams versus the Texans, which was, I'm going to be honest, a snooze fest. And then the Titans and Broncos in its own right wasn't anything to write home about. The Titans offense didn't get going. And I think the Titans offense is probably going to struggle in this game. They struggled against the Broncos. And I think when you look at least just on paper, right, I would say the Texans offense is better than the Titans offense. They only scored 9 points on the Rams. They had a couple chances, but a couple mistakes here, fumble late in the game. They had a chance to be in the game. Not to say it's not going to be close necessarily. I feel like it's an uphill battle. Cam Ward needs to see the ball go into the end zone this week. I don't know if it's going to be a lower scoring game, but I do think the Titans are going to not be able to keep up. The Rams, though, I think they get this one 28-17. I think the Titans, you'll see Cam Ward be able to get a couple touchdowns under his belt, but that offense, really nothing right now to write home about. Ridley never really got going in that game. And just really all around, just a very underwhelming performance from the Titans. And granted, the Rams didn't have much other than Puka offensively, but at least it's something, right? So we're going to go with the Rams to win that one. Obviously, you have Devontae, Kyron. You have those guys that will make plays. Next, we have the Seahawks going up against the Steelers. The Seahawks lost a close game to the 49ers. The 49ers, an interestingly tricky team. They had to finish that game without Kittle. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the Seahawks, man, they should have won that game if you ask me. I think they should have won that game. They didn't. And then you look at the other side. I look at the Steelers. They probably shouldn't have won the game they won, right? Like, Justin Fields probably played one of his best games of his career. And Aaron Rodgers was dialed in, and they won that game. It's gonna be a tough Steelers team to beat. Justin Fields and the Jets gave them everything they could muster, and ultimately the Steelers came out on top. Now the Steelers defense did not wow me, but Aaron Rodgers looks good. He looks good with this offense. I don't know how long it's gonna last. Obviously, he's up there in age. At any point you could see some regression, but I gotta rock with the Steelers in this one. I think I'm going to go Steelers 21, and I'm going to go Seahawks 17. I just got to trust Aaron Rodgers here. I hate this video is making me mad, man. I've got to give Green Bay a win. I've got to say the Bears are going to lose, and now I got to say that you got to trust Aaron Rodgers. Look at my face. It's not very happy as a Bears fan right now. But it is what it is. Steelers are going to win it. I was just double checking that the Bills actually played the Jets, because I did mess up Josh Allen's thumbnail when I was doing it. But Josh Allen, he kind of called out the fans, right? They left the game early against the Ravens, and late game heroics, Josh Allen and company pulled it off. I mean, never count him out. But the guy, I had to put Josh Allen here because, an amazing performance from Josh Allen to win that game, a game that they probably had no business winning, but they won in that shootout with Baltimore. Keon Coleman, man, he has emerged. That guy has been kind of the guy we were all been kind of looking at and is he going to break out? Keon Coleman led the team in targets, I believe, made big catch after big catch after big catch. He was elevated up in the air for it felt like forever to go grab one. Keon Coleman, shout out. That is the kind of game that they draft you to play, right? Keon Coleman, we were kind of in limbo on if he was going to take that next step, and so far through the first game, it looks like he has. So Keon Coleman, shout out to him. And then you look at the Jets, right? The Jets, Fields has bounced around all over the place. He's been the Bears, then he went to the Steelers, and now he's with the Jets, right? I mean, there's been some good Fields games. Good Fields games. He probably played his best game of his career. It was a phenomenal game from Justin Fields. It was neck and neck with Aaron Rodgers, and a defense that I thought was going to be good, he put up 32 on. Justin Fields, you got to tip your cap, but could Justin Fields keep it up? Yes. I think he has the talent to do so, and I hope he does, right? We're rooting for Justin. There's no ill will there. But the Bills are a different beast, right? The Bills are a different beast. You got to rock with the Bills to win that one. We're going 28-14, a little bit of a humbling moment here for the Jets. I'll come back down to earth after such a big, close, shootout kind of game. You're going to run into the Jets. Or the Jets are going to run into the Bills. Next, we get to the Giants and the Cowboys. And you might be like, Jackson Dart did not play. Why is he on the graphic? Because Jackson Dart needs to play. It was just so frustrating because that was one of the two games that was going on in my area, right? This and the Lions game. Or no, I think the Lions game was in the afternoon. I forget the other game. I don't care. Oh, it was the Colts game. Ugh. Either way, Jackson Dart needs to be playing football. I mean, not to say Russell Wilson can't play football, but like everybody knows it's Jackson Dart, man. Everybody knows that it's a placeholder. Everybody knows that like this Giants team right now is at best maybe gonna slide in as a wild card team, maybe. Really relying on the defense and maybe hoping Malik Neighbors has like an insanely great season. Not the best offense, right? Just go with the young gun in Jackson Dart, man. It would make life so much easier. It would make everything go so much smoother next year, and it would also make the fan base have something excited to go see. And Russell Wilson didn't really make a great case to stay the starting QB, so we're rooting for Jackson to get that starting job. No ill will there towards Russell Wilson, but let's be honest. He's had his Super Bowl. He's had his time at the top. It's Jackson Dart's team. I don't know why we're acting like it's not right now. So give the team over to Jackson Dart. I don't care if it's this week, next week. It needs to happen sooner rather than later. Next, we have on the other side the Cowboys. CD's on here. CD's gonna have a bounce back game, right? Big game from CD, but ultimately had a couple drops that really costed them what should have been an upset win over the Eagles. A couple really good passes from Dak that were delivered on the money that he dropped. There was one he dove for a little bit out in front of him, but there was about 3 or 4 catches in that game that were crucial big plays that 9 times out of 10 CeeDee Lamb makes. And on that day, he missed all 4, right? Like, I mean, he had a rough day. I mean, he had an insane stat. He still had 110 yards. But imagine if he would have just caught the balls, right? If he would have just caught the balls that were thrown to him, the ones that he dropped, I think I saw some stat like without rack, like running after his catch, he would have like 170. Like, he had a huge game. Bounce back, a tricky New York Giants defense, a tricky secondary as well, but nothing that I don't think CeeDee Lamb can't handle. Bounce back game here for him. Stop handing the ball off to Javonte Williams, man. Ain't nobody want to see Javonte Williams get touchdowns. Get me my CeeDee Lamb touchdowns for fantasy football, please. Stop handing it off to Javonte Williams. But we're going to go with the Cowboys to win this one. Big game, 31-14. I just think at the end of the day, the Cowboys, they're going to have to let out some steam. Next, we have the Browns against the Ravens. Harold Fannin, how about him, right? Kind of out of nowhere. If you kind of knew some of his game in college at Bowling Green, really versatile, kind of plays tight end, but more so like a receiver, right? Didn't get really much draft love, but big time like playmaker. Not necessarily the blocking tight end that maybe Njoku is, but big time like weapon in the offense. And you saw that. And I didn't know if we would see it that early with him. I thought maybe Njoku would be a little bit more of the focal point, but he really stood out. Samson, he stood out as well. They should have Quinshon Judkins back potentially for this game. If not this game, he will be back by week 3. He's signed, sealed, and delivered. Joe Flacco, I think you probably got to go with one of Gabriel or Shadur, right? Like, same thing there with Russell Wilson. Are we really just gonna like what? Makes your floor slightly better, I guess. I don't even think their floor is really a playoff team, but if you maybe strike gold with one of those rookie QBs, then maybe you're in business. Browns, and I think there's a lot of things that needs to be fixed, but you did find some diamonds there this at least in week 1 with Dylan Sampson and Harold Fannin. Then you're going up against the guy that somehow fumbled and let the Bills back in, Derrick Henry. Shout out to the Bills for finding a way to make Derrick Henry fumble because he was torching them all day. I think he finished like 170 rushing yards, just torching them. The Browns ain't gonna stop that. If they want to, Derrick Henry could have 200 yards. Will he? I don't know. It kind of, I mean, The Ravens kind of like to switch it up every week. Might get 1 week of Lamar rushing for 60 yards, and the next week Lamar might only rush for 30, and maybe be more pass oriented and get the ball to Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, who I don't know if he'll even be able to play this game. He was on the sideline out last game, but I think really this is going to be just the Browns are going to have to play catch up. They might get a couple late, but I think the Ravens have an easy time. 35-24 is my stat line. I do think that the Browns are going to be able to move the ball. I don't necessarily. I think Marlon Humphreys might be injured. I know he went down. I keep calling him Humphreys, Marlon Humphrey. But yeah, I think you'll be able to move the ball in the second half and maybe be able to get some garbage time points. Next, we have the 49ers going up against the Saints. Now, this one's tricky because Brock Purdy is on the injury report. He has a shoulder injury. I believe it's a shoulder injury at least. So, yeah. I think it's Garoppolo behind him. Either way. Purdy not playing kind of scares me. And then you might be looking at the other side. Well, by the way, the guy that's catching the ball over Tariq Woolen is Tonjes. Kittle's on the IR, and this dude went out and won them the game. So, shout out to Tonjes. And then you got the other side. Rattler, I think he threw like 40-plus passes in week 1 in a close game. He didn't necessarily look great, but he looked improved from last year. So, I mean, I saw a couple articles like, did they find a gem here with Spencer Rattler? I don't know about all of that. I mean, obviously there's still some things to work on with Rattler, but I do think that Rattler can give them a chance if Brock Purdy's not in this game. Now, if Brock Purdy's in this game, I have the 49ers winning 24-20. I'm going to stick with that if Brock Purdy's not in the game, but it's making me nervous. Rattler, I think, will be able to move the ball. I think they'll throw the ball. Olave on the injury report again, so we'll see what happens with him. But Rattler, big game from Rattler. Next, we get to the Patriots versus the Dolphins. And you're like, why do I see a coach on my screen? Mike McDaniel is on the hot seat, man. What happened? You have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Achane, you have Tua, you have Malik Washington, you have a decent defense, and you gave up 33 points to the Colts and scored 8 to the Colts. The Colts are not a team that should be doing that. Now, granted, Daniel Jones looked great, and I don't know if that's going to maintain or not, but McDaniels, you got to figure it out, man. If he has another losing season this year and they can't make the playoffs, I could see him going. I've heard some rumors that Tyreek Hill potentially getting traded. I heard the Chiefs were interested because they're very banged up at the moment. I heard the Steelers might be interested. The Dolphins, what is happening, man? What is happening? This is a team that if you told me like 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, oh, they're just starting to emerge, and they came crashing down this quickly. Getting blown out by the Colts. And nobody really had high hopes for the Colts. Maybe Colts fans. But I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm throwing them a bone. I'm throwing them a bone because this is a Patriots team that lost to the Raiders, who I don't think is that great. I'm going to say 24-21 Dolphins, but just know, if they can't win this week, I might stop picking the Dolphins altogether. Next, we get the Jaguars going up against the Bengals. The Bengals, first week Bengals, man, they are terrible. They found a way to beat the Browns, but the first week Bengal curse has been broken, but they still suck in week 1. That team is so much better than what they put on the field against the Browns. And then you had ETN on the Jaguars side. Apparently he's like returning to his old form, which is cool, I guess. They traded Tank Bigsby away this week. and he's actually on the Eagles now, so have fun with that. Bashal Tootin was involved. Brian Thomas was involved. Travis Hunter played 2 ways, and I think he had 6 receptions, or at least 6 targets. I forget which one, if he had 6 receptions or if it was just 6 targets. But either way, they won, but I wasn't overly impressed. The Panthers played terribly. They played terribly. The offense really didn't do much for the Jaguars outside of ETN. There was a touchdown for BTJ. There was if you had a PPR league, Travis Hunter was fine. But there wasn't much going on with this offense. But the good news is Bengals early in the season are very susceptible to losses. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether there's a rhyme or a reason. They play better later in the season usually, and I still got to take the Bengals 35-17. I got to rock with the Bengals, man. You proved me right. The Bengals team, significantly more talented. Will they do well? Maybe not. Maybe not. It depends on how BTJ and Travis Hunter develop. But I'm taking Joe Burrow over Trevor Lawrence 10 out of 10 times. There's not a single time that I would have ever taken him over Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's one of, if not the best QBs in the entire league. The only players that up there that you could potentially talk me into is Lamar and Josh Allen, right? And yes, I know I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes, and that's intentional. I think that Chiefs are obviously really good, but I think Joe Burrow is that kind of special talent. 35-20, my apologies, 35-17. Talk about the team we were just talking about. A disappointment they were. Panthers. Bryce Young, man. Come on, Bryce. I've been rooting for you. I need you to pay off. I've been hyping you up. Everybody in the Dynasty Football League I'm in, there was a Bryce Young trade, and I was like, oh, you won that trade. Bryce he's gonna work out. Bryce, man, you gotta help us out. You gotta go out there and you gotta show that you were still the guy that you were when you were first, the first pick in the draft. And then on the Cardinals side, they didn't necessarily. They struggled a little bit. Kyler was sick. They let the Saints hang in. Obviously, we talked about Rattler a little bit, but the Cardinals should win this game. There was not much from the Panthers side of things that really showed any promise. I gotta go here. Cardinals winning 27-17. Talk about a team that underwhelmed, right? The Broncos barely beating the Titans on Cam Ward's debut. Bo Nix had a rough day. Talk about somebody who didn't have a rough day, though. Daniel Jones. I can almost guarantee it's going to be a lot more rough than it was against the Dolphins. Yeah, you remember the Dolphins in the preseason were complaining about the Bears playing with too much physicality, being fake tough guys and all this? Yeah, the Dolphins just got ran out of the building by the Colts. They are not built to play the Broncos. They are not built to play the Broncos. The Broncos are going to have their way with that. My bad. I'm not. I'm throwing shots at the Dolphins as if they're playing the Broncos. They're not even playing the Broncos. Daniel Jones, though, is, and I think it's going to be obviously a step up. It's a big step up to play the Broncos defense versus that not tough in their own words, I suppose, Dolphins, because we're whining about physicality. Either way, this game is going to be interesting. Should be tight. Unless the Broncos offense shows up to play, I don't know they will. I think they still win. I'm going 24-21 in the favor of the Broncos. They could win bigger. It's just going to be up to Bo Nix and company. Next, we get to the Eagles and the Chiefs. This is going to be a big one. Hollywood Brown is on the screen, and I just realized that is his Super Bowl patch. Oh well. Used the wrong week's image. Oh well. Hollywood Brown is on the screen because Xavier Worthy, got he took friendly fire from Travis Kelce in like the first quarter. Juju was involved. Hollywood was their most useful receiver, and that's why Tyreek Hill is being mentioned in trade talks. The run game wasn't anything to write home about. The Eagles, on the other hand, they'll be good. A.J. Brown had 1 target. He'll have more. Saquon will dominate. Jalen Hurts, obviously a threat on the tush-push. The Eagles, it's going to be a tight one. 35-31 in the favor of the Eagles. I like them a little bit more. A little bit more firepower right now. Next, we get to the Falcons versus the Vikings on, I believe, Sunday Night Football. Why are we in the Vikings 2 times in a row on Sunday Night Football? Either way, Penix going up against J.J. McCarthy. Penix looked really good. They obviously unable to beat the Buccaneers, but he had a pretty good game. Didn't get the ball to Drake London as much as I would hope. Please do that. He's on my fantasy team. JJ, everybody says he played really well. I don't really think he did. He took advantage of his opportunities, which I guess is playing well, but he didn't have a great performance. The run game really opened it up. Jordan Mason, and then he did make a couple good passes late in the game as well to Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones, but a full body of work, not really. And Caleb's right there too, so it's not shade at JJ. It's just let's be real. Let's be real. Either way, the Vikings should win this one. 27-24 is my prediction. I think the Vikings defense is really good. I do. I think they are a team that is going to get after Penix. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it. Obviously, left-handed QB, it's going to be interesting to see it go the other way, right? I don't get to watch much Michael Penix other than when he was at Indiana and then when he was at Washington, unfortunately beating my Oregon Ducks. So I'm very familiar with Michael Penix. But we're going Vikings 27-24. Then we get the Monday. We had 2 games Monday. We are starting it off with the Buccaneers. And shout out to Emeka Egbuka. I think he had 2 touchdowns. Game winner. Did his thing. And then C.J. Stroud had to rally the troops after the game. After the loss against the Rams, he called them out. He was like, hey, you guys aren't taking things serious. And ultimately, that's going to continue to cost us games. See how C.J. Stroud and company bounce back. But it sounds like C.J. is kind of fed up with how his team is going about things. And then on the other side, you have Baker and Bucky and Emeka Egbuka and Mike Evans. And Emeka Egbuka is the big name coming out of Sunday. That wasn't even talking about Baker, Bucky, or Mike Evans. And then eventually they'll have Godwin back. Cade Otton's there, right? Like, it's a really talented Buccaneers team. Good defense as well. I think if you can't handle the Rams, you're not going to be able to handle the Buccaneers. I'm going to the Buccaneers to win 31-17. And then we're going to wrap it up with MVP? MVP Justin Herbert, maybe? Maybe. Turns out for Justin Herbert to be like one of the better running QBs in the league and beat Mahomes, all he needed to do was ask Madison Beer out on a date. That's all he needed to do. Because he did that, and Justin Herbert became the best QB in the league overnight, right? Like, he was top 5. Maybe some people would have him outside the top 5, but he was definitely top 10. Justin Herbert did it all. We haven't seen too much run. I mean, the run hasn't been a huge part of his game, but he made timely runs, delivered beautiful passes. Quentin Johnston had a big game, something that could get some Chargers fans excited. We'll see what happens for the rest of the season, but don't be shocked. MVP might be loading here for Justin Herbert. And then you have Ashton Jeanty getting his first career touchdown. Not a very fruitful game otherwise, though. It's or not the Buccaneers, the Raiders, man. I think they're gonna run this guy into the ground. I really do. I mean, they won, right? But just the talent around him at the offensive line is not the best. You need better blocking for this guy. You need better blocking for him. He can only do so much on his own. But we're going to rock with the Chargers to win this one. I think it's going to be close, 28-24. Get Jakobi Meyers about 12 targets, please. And maybe Jakobi bring in all 12 so I can get at least 12 fantasy points. And it doesn't hurt to maybe get over 100 yards and a touchdown and, do all that. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Let me know down below who you have winning in week 2. I'm going to be uploading this on Wednesday, so a day before Thursday Night Football, and then kind of just some housekeeping news here to close it off. I will be traveling on Friday, and then I'll be coming back on Sunday, so you won't see any you might see a Bears reaction on Sunday night, because I should be back by mid to late afternoon on Sunday. But I have a flight to catch, so I won't be doing any content, even if anything arises. But that is what it is. I'm gonna be traveling. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.